Come on, you can do it. Well, that's running slow today. Usually it's done. There we go. All right, that's good to go. Bob, I think we are good to go. And whenever you're ready.
There you go. Yeah, call the June Planning Commission meeting to order. Is there any changes to the agenda, Chad?
There's none.
I'd look for a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. We have a roll call. Susie Steingraber.
Here.
Cindy Goller.
Here.
Jason.
Here.
Mark.
Here.
Okay, that's everything for that. Okay, you want to take order just Chad for the approval of, or the final plat approval?
Well, why don't you go approve the minutes?
Oops, okay, okay.
from February 27th.
Look for to approve the minutes of February.
I so move.
I'll second it.
Meeting or minutes have been approved. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Good. Okay, you want to get the final plat review for the London Acres?
Yep. So obviously forgive me because this is my kind of my first planning commission gig, and you guys probably know more than I do, but we'll just kind of, you guys help me along if you have any questions or anything. So we did have London Acres provide us a updated plat for the London Acres. Romanesco provided us an updated plat for London Acres. And the only difference really is, like I said in my memo, the utilities is going to put the electrical on the outside of the properties. So we needed to have a utility easement on the outside, so you can kind of see there's this 15-inch buffer zone. And actually, Jay, I will share my screen right now.
Yep. I can speak to that too, because I've been talking with Phil about that. Originally Romanesco wanted our facilities installed internally, but our common construction practice is to go to the outside. There's a lot of trees on that property, if anybody knows and has looked at it. So they were looking to push that easement out. That's probably why this hasn't been approved sooner. I would not approve that for our facilities to be moved out of that 10-foot easement. So that's why that plan is probably coming through now and it hasn't been approved sooner. They were hoping that I would give them a 50-foot easement and then they were going to change it on this map. And I would not agree to that, because when they sell the lots, then they're off the hook and we still have to maintain our facilities. And then if that homeowner wants to relocate that transformer back to the lot line after they do some work, I was just going to avoid that conflict altogether. So that's some of the input into this map and probably why it's going for approval now.
Correct. So the only addition the only change from the original plat that I know of is that outside utility easement on the outside of all the lots. Correct, Jay?
That's correct.
So
Has Randy from the Kunkel Engineering, has he reviewed the plan?
he has not reviewed this because the only change was to put the utility easement on the outside. So
Okay, so he hasn't made any recommendations on either way on.
not on this one, no. There wasn't any changes to the lots, to the drainage, plan, things like that. It was just to put that utility easement on the outside for the electrical to go out there, which was more New London Utilities focus than anything.
Yep. And cable TV will be going in that easement as well. They're going to do a joint trench with us.
Anybody got any questions?
Nope.
Susie, anything?
Nope, I'm good.
So we're looking for a motion for approval. Is that what we're looking for then tonight, Chad?
Yep, that's gonna go to council then.
Okay, I look for a motion or
I'll make a motion to approve the utility easement.
And I'll second it.
motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's passed. Northland Electric Expansion Site Plan Approval, Chad?
Yep, let me find that one next here quick. Here, this
We're going to the north side of the current building.
All right, so Northland Electric, they are asking for an addition on the north side of their building there. You can kind of see what they're looking at, the proposed building. Looks like a 34-foot wide by a 286 and a half foot long building, extension on their plot, or on their property, on their current building. Randy from Kunkel Engineering did look at this, and everything looks okay in his mind. Everything looks good with that, so. Looks like to be a pretty basic addition onto the building. I'm not sure what it's all for yet, but what they need it for, but they're looking at adding that as soon as they can. So this would be approving the initial site plan for that project.
Anybody have any questions?
I don't think so.
Jason, did they talk to you about it? Is there anything exciting that they told you?
Nope, I have not been in communication with Northland about that project, so.
Is
Yeah,
that something that we need to be concerned about before we approve it, or
In regards
I
to,
the utilities? Or anything?
no, any addition, they'll probably do any of that work internally. For us, our transformer is sized accordingly, so they're the only customer there as far as our utilities. We wouldn't really require anything in there. It's basically, that's what they do for a living, so I don't see any problems with utility facilities at all.
That's-
Yeah, good point.
pretty much.
Good.
So yes, Bob, we'll need approval for that site plan.
So I look for approval for the Northland Electric Expansion Site Plan Approval.
I so move.
I'll second
Curtis will
that.
second.
Oh, Mark, go ahead.
Either or whoever, I seconded it, or I think Jay did too.
Go ahead.
Okay, a motion's been made and approved. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Goes to council. Okay, now we get to the big one. Wolf River Art League.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
let's
How do you want me to start, Chad?
I will get your pictures ready. Do you want a specific order or just go from the top?
It's fine any which way. So the murals Chad's gonna share up here are the ones that we want to know if they're okayed and ready to go. They may or may not necessarily be painted yet this year, but we have leftover paint from our murals so far. There are still some in progress, but as soon as the ones that are in progress right now are done, I believe it's number 42. So we did everything that we had set in mind for this year, and I just had time to keep going with my ideas. So I'm gonna show you these, and like I said, they may or may not be this year. They could be next spring, but I just want to get them passed so that we can move forward if possible. So this is the back of the Academy Martial Arts. This would be the north wall, and those two black air conditioners would turn into like that little van windows up on the in the middle there. And so it'll hide that, and it'll be, you know, a new little scene back there. It'll be
That's
fun.
cool.
Yeah. So, and those are just tentative pictures to give you an idea of what it would be, something similar to that.
Everything you've done looks great around
Yeah,
town. I
thank
haven't had
you.
anybody say
Mhm.
anything bad.
Beckert Road. My husband did one on the other side of this wall facing the Trinity Church, and then this would be something similar something similar to this, which is already okayed. These are already okayed with the building owners, so we're just looking for your approval as well. So this would be on Becker. Okay, this is bumper to bumper. Chad, that wall, the wall facing Pearl Street, if you just want to put your
This one?
pointer
Oh,
to
Pearl
it.
Street.
Yeah, right there. The little frog with the mushrooms on top would go on there. And this guitar over here on the right with the music notes would go on the bottle shop. Yep, right in there. We had a problem with these two locations. Paul Hanlon said that they couldn't be put on these buildings. But we read I don't know what you call them, the rules. And line E says murals or artwork judged by the planning commission, I can't read what it says, is exempt, that it's not considered a sign. So that's what I'm kind of challenging.
Not advertising.
No, and it's not, it says right there in line E that they're exempt and they're not considered a sign. So we found that to be interesting and we were hoping that it would,
What does it say there on E? Something about referred by the zoning. What does that say?
referral by the zoning administrator,
Yeah.
not to be signs shall be exempt from this section.
Who
So
would
I
be the
didn't know.
zoning administrator?
Paul Hamlin would have been the zoning administrator at the time, so now it's kind of up in flux. You know, Kunkel Engineering is helping us with the zoning
Right.
information.
Should we run it by them to be on the safe side, or are we good with what the wording is
Really,
here? Because
artwork
I know,
something.
I remember Paul Hanlon saying something about this one.
He was saying it was considered a sign, but then when you read this, it's definitely artwork and not a sign. So,
Was it something different that you approached us with the last time?
they were,
Didn't it say
it
that
would, it
it's-
would have been a different piece of artwork, but no, it would have been the same. They're basically gonna be hung up like the one here on the corner by Dairy Queen.
Okay.
It's the same thing. And that butterfly one that's over here is the one that was supposed to be on bumper to bumper,
Is it?
but we
because
relocated it.
These are on like the front side of these businesses?
Yep, it's right.
No,
right.
but I mean, is it,
It's considered the front on both of these, because that's where the address is.
and are
But-
any of the other murals positioned where the address is?
Not yet, I don't think, is there?
Is that?
I
one?
don't know if Becky's dog grooming is, but hers is painted on the building and not attached. So I don't know. That one was
I thought
passed.
it was something that Paul said that he didn't, it was a sign.
It was
that-
considered a sign because it was being attached.
Yes.
That's what these are, attached.
Okay.
But now in line E, when
Yeah.
I found this, I thought that it sounded like it was omitted if it was artwork.
Just
So-
wondering if we need to put it to the zoning administrator, since they say that in that line there, you know, I don't know if we feel, or I feel, not that I don't want to,
No, I
I
understand.
mean,
I've been waiting since May 1st to ask Paul Hanlon and then it didn't work out
Right,
that way,
right.
so.
Did you plan on doing them this year?
Those two, the last time when we did these other ones, we painted them in the winter inside.
Okay, and then-
But it's a process, so I'm not sure. We could attach them and paint them on the wall would be easier than painting them on the floor inside.
Would you be all right if we would wait and then, and next planning commission have an answer for you? Say
Is that next month?
Yeah.
yeah, July. Yeah.
I mean, yes, yeah, I'm fine. I just want the answer so we know if we can move forward. We have lots of artists interested in, doing these, so I just really love getting all the art out and I
Yeah.
think the community does too, so.
Right.
I think for the planning commission, it would be more so if we can't find it exactly, what do you guys want to do? You know, would you guys want to allow it on the front of businesses? And, you know, we could go through ordinance modification based on where you guys want to go with things.
Mhm.
But if this is something that's kind of new, you know, maybe you guys got to think about it. Like Rob said, chew on it, see what you think, because once you set it, you're setting it for,
You're setting a precedent.
Yeah,
Correct.
setting a precedent for
They're
here.
not exactly, I mean, they're on the front. but these are side
They're
streets.
also corner buildings.
These are side streets.
Yeah.
kind of. I mean, you're on Shawano Street and then you're the one by the,
Chano and Pearl,
And then,
so they're kind of on, they're in the front technically.
but kind of on the side.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
but
Yeah.
they're, I mean, they're in heavily trafficked areas, so.
So you could say something that if you do it in an ordinance, you could say that they're not allowed unless specifically on a case-by-case basis by the planning commission, or, since every one of these has to be approved by the planning commission anyway, you guys determine on the case-by-case basis at that time, whether you like, in that particular situation, do you want it on the front? So there's two things to kind of talk about in
What?
general, and then on a case-by-case.
What's the harm of?
That's where I was going. What does
Yeah.
it hurt?
What's the harm of doing, are we setting a precedent that that we maybe don't want? Is that the harm, or is it,
Did Paul kind of give you, do you remember Paul talking about
he said
exactly?
something
He
about
just
it being
thought it was
attached.
considered a sign. That's how I remember him saying
Yeah,
it. Like, that's
attached.
considered a sign that's, yeah, and it,
I
for
don't
some
remember.
reason, on the address side of the building was the problem.
Mhm.
and I
Yes,
don't
that was Paul's only situation, is it being attached and the size of it.
Yes.
I
Maybe as a
kinda-
commission,
I
you
kinda
could chew
like-
on that.
Like Chad's idea that go on a case by case basis, and if
Right.
it's something
I
that
agree.
planning commission says, no, we don't want to do it,
I mean,
then I would say maybe we should think about it and
Yeah.
have an answer for you next.
I guess if I had any input, I would like to see just clarification on the ordinances that we're not doing anything
Right.
to meet that, because I don't have enough experience in that. So I would like to reference somebody with more experience to say, hey, yeah, this note E is definitely okay for you guys to make that exception and then move forward in that aspect. So I think we just need another month to visit about it and get some clarity on it.
That's fine.
That's fine.
I,
Yes.
agree.
I share your thoughts, Jason. I don't feel like I'm an expert. It seems like it's relatively harmful, but or
Harmless.
harmless.
Yeah.
But I don't know the codes inside and out. And, could that be extrapolated somehow to some sort of image that would be offensive someday? And somebody saying, well, you allowed it here,
Mhm.
so
Right.
then how could we say no then?
Yeah, I agree with, let's do a little bit of homework before we make a decision on that. So we're all in agreement.
I think so. yeah.
Right.
Does everybody agree?
Yeah,
Have an
so we're
agreement
gonna.
on that?
That's fine. With the next
Table
month,
it?
we still have time to
Sure.
get something done this year if we wanted to. Okay,
All right.
thank
You
you.
think, Mark, does that sound all right with you?
Yeah, that's great.
So who would we check with
Yeah.
to
how-
get verification on this?
Zoning, I would say, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me research. Yeah, and Jason,
I
you
have
can
some-
talk and-
I have some contacts. I could probably, I mean, there's a lot of other communities with people that are qualified. I have enough networking that I could reach out to somebody and have them review our our literature and see if there's any discrepancy at all, or if they're comfortable with it. And I still have a relationship with Paul. I could actually contact him and see why he was opposed to it, just for my own personal reasons to see why he was opposed to it, if at all.
I think that sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Susan, I got a question too. I've been getting asked through the community of the longevity of these paintings. Are they going to be upkept? What is the outlook for them as far as like, are they going to supposedly last 5 years, 1 year, 10 years?
The
Oh.
paint is said to be 12 or more, 12 plus years is what
Okay.
the paint is lifetime, I guess, is, or expectancy. It's very good paint, so probably longer than that. That's just what they say on the, on the
I've been
can.
I've been
Uh,
replying that you guys are gun ho to paint, that you guys will just repaint a different mural.
Well, I'm hoping someday that it'll just continue on, and things can get repainted as needed, but
Yeah.
we're not liable for that, and neither, nobody is. I think the agreements between the building and the Wolf River Art League says that they'll leave the murals up for at least 5 years. If they ever
Okay.
want to paint over them after that, that's up to them.
No, okay.
So,
Okay. All right. Thank you.
yes.
When you think about the two murals that have been, what, on the side of the old dry cleaner store and Bumper to Bumper?
Yeah,
How
those
long
are,
have those been on there?
yeah, those are still, yeah, or we're going strong and they were just fine, so they
Yep.
still are fine.
That's the Irish one there on the,
Yeah,
that's been there a long time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this building is obviously needs repair. So they are planning to repair, which is kind of fun. If you look around, I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of buildings are painting this year just to freshen up. Festival Foods, the Cenex building down there has plans to paint. Even Easy Street, he
Mhm.
started painting the front, so that's exciting. But this store here is, they're planning to fix all that masonry up. And then this would be a tentative idea. These are just examples, but something fun and interactive on there. on the
Where
back
is
side.
the candy store?
This is the barn would be on this side, the pantry's over here. So this is in the,
Oh, is this that
Alley.
new place?
yeah, it's not open yet.
Okay.
But it's a high school girl. Her parents, I guess, own the building and they said she could start a candy store. So
Good.
I don't know the dates that she's planning, but whenever they're ready with their maintenance on the building, then we would have this okayed.
My question with this one is, this is obviously an interactive photo or interactive painting. Do you want that one tucked back in there to have kids congregate back there? Is that gonna be, you know,
I think
compared to
it's
another
a-
spot that's kind of up front, you know?
Well, I was trying to keep the interactive murals away from the roads, and so this is a parking lot area, which is safer than on the roadside, because I don't want somebody taking a picture and backing up into the
Yep.
traffic or off of a sidewalk, so I think
I
it
just
would be
didn't know
all
if you've
right.
had teenagers and kids congregating back there, if that's also gonna be a draw for them to kind of,
I
Over
see
there.
people walking all over taking selfies, so it's bringing people here. I think it's a good thing.
Well, and I think the building next to it, you have,
Yeah, that's safe over there. It's,
you
it's
have
no
something
traffic coming through.
already on that wall. I mean, it would
Yes.
look nice if it,
Yeah, if it continues, and this building is like the biggest eyesore back there, so I'm excited to do something to it.
yeah,
Yep.
good.
The more of them alley ones you can paint, the better.
Yes, yes. This is the Cenex building, by the railroad tracks down here, and they asked if we could do something with this area. Obviously, there used to be a window here, and that slatted area, we would fill that in with the same material that we have, these other signs made up, art. We'd put it in there so it's flat to paint, and then those shutters won't be on there. They are planning to paint the entire building, which I think she said a dark gray. But then this image here, or something like that, but more colorful, because all of our murals are colorful. So it would be something similar to that. Cenex just asked if it would be something positive. So I think that would be a nice size there. This is the copper shot wall in the alley along the river. So they have, obviously they need paint. They did also say that they want to do some masonry work on the steps and the wall. So we would just concentrate on that area there in the center, and it would be something similar to this sunset with the boat. The artist that has this image also has, I believe, dancers or something in the storm. I'm not sure how she explained it, but it'll be very similar to that. Concentrate on that area. And then the steps over here would be painted something, patterns like that. Probably tying in more with the colors that the artist is using in the other piece. So along with that, on Copper Shot also,
is there another one?
well, no, but I have also talked to the new owners there, and they are okay with painting the back of their building, not just where we're going to put the image, but the rest of that. I don't know what you call that maroon color. They are okay with painting that all solid and a new fun, fresh color, which my vision for New London would be when you're coming over the two bridges, this isn't a hidden alley anymore, but you really just make a spectacle of it with some bright, fun colors.
Oh.
So I'm thinking if all the buildings that wanted to would put fresh coat of paint on there and not pick a tan or a, you know, camouflaging it in, instead make it unique and make it fun and make it noticeable instead of try to hide it with the boring browns and tans. So they said they would definitely go for that, along with, I believe the print shop will. They said they were going to do some maintenance. Deming Knoll, along the lines, there are a few of them that already said, yeah, like, you know, maybe not murals on all of them, but a bright, fun color just to dress it up and make it super, super fun to see.
Or clean it up, yeah.
Also, if you ever take your time and sit across the river, don't even look at the buildings, look at the reflection in the water. And the ones that show up amazing are the colorful ones. The little River's Edge building is blue in there, and whatever has color on, that would be amazing for New London to see, not just the buildings, but the reflection. So Copper Shot is in on that, and they would pick a bright, fun color.
What about their, the wall on this side, the Copper Shot?
We haven't concentrated on that yet. There was a guy in the past that had come to quite a few of our art meetings. He was a vet, and he wanted to, they must have funds that they wanted a patriotic sort of mural. And a bunch of our artists tried to come up with a plan for him, but we can't read his mind, and he wasn't able to show us. So I don't think anything ever came of that. And I haven't heard from him.
You want me to
In a
reach
while.
out to the veterans and talk to them about the, I know they've talked about the tavern too, haven't they?
On Copper Shot.
No,
Yeah.
no, I mean the other one,
Oh, the waterfront.
waterfront.
I don't know anything about waterfront, but this was on the Copper Shot building that,
yep.
yes.
You want me to reach out to the veterans and talk to them once? and see
Well,
if-
we did, but we can't come up with an image that they're okay. Like, we took a bunch of time to try to draw something up, and it wasn't it wasn't what he had in his mind, but it was just too hard to come to a conclusion.
Agreement.
And it wasn't necessarily the Wolf River Art League that was gonna paint that. It would just be an artist separate from, you know, on their own. Because they had their own funds and they would pay the artist.
Sure.
None of our murals were gonna be patriotic because we're gonna let them have
Yeah.
their own, that would be their thing, would be the patriotic. But we just didn't come up with something that worked. So, but I can't remember his name, if it was Joel. I'm not sure. But you, I mean, you can reach out to them and see if they are still planning to, but I don't know. So we haven't touched that inside wall on Copper Shot to the west because they wanted plans with that.
Mhm.
I don't know if that translated to the new owner of the Copper Shot. And also I didn't plan for that wall because it actually looks nice. So I'm trying to get the ones that need the most help first in town and pretty up the ones that need the most. So,
I'll talk to the veterans once. A couple
Okay.
of them might know 'em. I mean, I helped them out when we were doing the monument and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm
so-
on speaking terms with a few of them.
Yep, so I do not know if their mural is moving forward, but they were at all of our winter meetings, or that one guy was trying to get something planned, but it never did follow through. This is a question for you guys, because I know this is one of your buildings, correct?
Yep.
So this would be possibly attached on that little park wall there underneath the windows. Something similar to that. It's basically like a forest floor scene with colorful mushrooms, flowers, grass,
At the west side of the building? Or the north,
east-ish.
East.
east side?
Yep.
West side?
So how big do you think that one would be? Like all the way to the bottom
I
windows?
did not measure that space. I don't know what that little, is that just a pipe coming down, or is that a bump in the,
Way down on the bottom
In
of the
the
ground there,
brick.
Chad, right there to your right.
yeah.
Yeah, this would be like, there's a, I don't know, it's a bump out, kind of looks
A
like
little bump out, so maybe just to the right of that,
right here.
yeah.
And then we'll, if you guys approve that one, we'll take it to Parks and Rec, because anything on a city building has to go to Parks and Rec as well. So the Park and Rec
Okay.
Committee will just bless it attached
Yeah.
as the owner
Yes.
to go in the building.
Okay. This, yeah, this one, I'm hoping she'll add a little bit more color to it. But there's just a little tiny, that little brick outline looking like a frame already. It just looks like a little piece that needs something in it. This is on the movie theater, on the Wolf River Avenue. Or what is that? North Water Street, on North Water Street.
Oh,
Right on, to the right is the little alley in between the old and the new.
Mhm.
So that's there, and it's pretty small. It's only this big, but it just looks like it needs something in there as long as we're doing art. And that would not be painted on the brick. It would also be attached.
Well, that would be another one, that it's facing the street.
Well, no, it's on the, what?
Address side.
Oh,
the
on the-
address-
okay.
Your address would be
see,
the
that's
back.
confusing, but
It
yes,
is, yeah.
yes, the address side, would that be on the back of
No,
the?
Yeah,
'cause
this
this,
is the
the,
back.
the ladies' room, that's where that curtain is. So it's on the, yeah, it's, I mean, it's
Now
the
it's the
west or
back of the,
Is it on the east side there? It's in the,
this is
Yeah.
the south side.
I would
Yeah,
think,
but is
I would
the-
think the
South side.
theater address would be the alleyway.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, because you can't enter off Shallow, or off.
No,
Wolf
there's
River
just
You
Avenue.
enter by the plaza now, so I
yeah,
don't know
it's
what
just a
the
little
address is.
nook. And it's not, yeah, it's one of the east or west walls. I don't think that's quite what Paul was getting at with regard to our previous
Yeah,
issue.
right,
Okay.
right.
This is an apartment on Division Street. When we're looking at this,
Oh,
the VFW was right here in the gravel,
mhm.
and St. Joe's is across the street here. So this is owned by Jay Waterstrat, and he is planning to paint that entire top a nice, fresh, new color, probably white, because I think that's what Jay does.
yep.
So it'll be white and fresh, but then it'll be a circle piece on the,
Oh, cool.
hung up there in the peak, as big
Mhm.
as we can get it.
Mhm.
Angel wings. Okay, this is another question for the city. This would be tentative, and this just came up. This is how, like, wherever I go, people say, I want to paint something, and then I'm like, oh no, let me quick send it to Chad. This would be on the back side of Longevity Building, which is brick. So it would be the west wall. Last year, Hanky said, sure, paint it, why not? But I never came up with anything. But the wings would hopefully be pretty big on the back of that building, and I know a lot of the kids would enjoy that, and that's a safe place too.
And that'd be another one to take to Parks and Rec, because it's a city building, just
Yeah.
to approve that. If the commission approves the design,
The Longevity Building is a city building?
Yes,
city owns it.
I did not know that.
we lease it out to Longevity.
Really? Huh.
Now this one I think is tentatively on hold because Print Shop said they wanted to do some maintenance to their wall, but it would just basically be a new fresh coat of paint and then a little fun saying for selfies, or people walking by, they can take a picture in front of it. So that's in the alleyway. This is the back of the Rickman building. The Blush photo studio was in there last. So this would, the gray building that Chad has the arrow on, or the gray wall there. The heart would be cut out, huge, out of the same material that we make the signs with, painted. And then these are paint cans that we have that would be attached to the heart, and they would bleed down on the wall. We would put a new fresh coat of paint on the gray, so it would be purple or
Even.
pink or green or who knows what. And then the fun colors would be spilling down.
You guys sure got an imagination, though. Somebody
Yeah,
does.
well, we might as well use the paint cans. There's lots of them. I have about 50 empty paint cans in my garage waiting for this, so hopefully you say yes. This is inside their back wall. They kind of have like a little nook in there. So that would just be where the cursor is right now. That would be a bright color, And then it would just say, this is us with the arrow pointing down. So kids or people could take a little selfie there too. While at the same time, they're viewing, this is the wall, like a corner. If you see the white door on the bottom where Chad has the cursor, that's the same white door above. Yes, so it's a corner there. And this artist has the guitar and the keyboard or piano piece, and that would go across that wall there, which that's never been painted at all. So that'll be fun to see.
Are there a lot of the other communities around that are doing painting and stuff? I haven't been.
I mean, it is popular to do, but I really think we're coming up, we're doing above and beyond, and we're being noticed. And it's unique because we have, everybody has been donating their time.
I know it was, some people, it's big on garage doors and stuff.
Yep,
You see garages, I mean, paint,
Mhm.
what's his name? Charlie from the drive-in in Hortonville.
yes.
He was big into the
Yeah.
painting stuff.
There's just been, I mean, an abundance of artists that want to paint, and it's all for free, and we have all the funding. As of right now, we still have funds from last year, so we really just want to use it and make it go as far as we can, and why not, I guess.
Yeah.
This was also added just yesterday. Keith Rice messaged me yesterday, and he's like, we have these really long fences at Rice's greenhouse. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll add that to the list. This is not a specific artist, but I tried to make this art would be easier to accomplish for just about anybody, and it can be colorful. And maybe one of the fences would have the palm like branches going down, and the other one might have the plants spilling over
Mhm.
the top in a more colorful form than that, more color. Obviously we would use up our color better than that, but just a thought for that. And I think that would be a really neat.
There's
spectacle
two
as well.
walls or just
Yep,
one?
that's two different
Okay,
fences.
yeah.
The blue wall on top, you can see Quick Trip in the background. And then this other wall faces Quick Trip.
Okay,
So it kind of goes around the corner
Nice.
there. Yeah.
nice.
So that was just added yesterday. This one is the most exciting to me, and I don't know who has to okay this or how this works, but with all of our very, very leftover paint at the end of this year, hopefully, I don't know how much of this is doable, but I just have the abstract idea on top just to give you that idea. But the river wall in the background, if that is able to be painted, it's just concrete right now. And if that wouldn't make the most beautiful reflection in the water, I don't know what would. And really start adding a bunch of fun color back there along the whole length.
Is there any issue about durability or ice or debris from spring breakup or anything? I mean, would that kind of image you wouldn't necessarily be able to tell, but I wonder if it would get scraped up quickly. As cool as the idea is, I don't know if
That was
it,
my concern, like with the DNR too, if they're gonna have an issue with,
Yeah, I don't know
Thing.
who you have to ask or how that works. I mean, is there any other, do people paint their docks? Do people paint their, I don't know. I don't know what has to be said for the,
They treat docks with treated stuff, which should be
Yeah.
more pollutive than paint would be.
I mean, definitely you would wait until the river went down. It's
Whatever goes
furthest
down,
point. I mean, whatever the furthest point is
Yeah.
for the year, or whenever we
Conkey-
decided that would be the best.
Conkey would know about that, wouldn't he?
I'd either start with Scott Kinky or Caitlin, our local DNR rep. Yeah, Kinky would probably be the one that'll defer to.
Okay.
That would probably go to Park and Rec.
As far as being like scraped up from the ice or something, I mean, an abstract painting can easily be touched up later with any color on top, so it wouldn't be like damaging the look of it per se. I mean,
Yeah.
you could always add to it in any which way.
yeah, I'm sure that whatever the DNR would have to
Yes,
say.
yeah,
would be
they're
far
they're
and
gonna,
above what any
yes,
of
they're
my
gonna be,
concerns.
yeah, they're the judge of this, and I just,
It
I guess I would be
It might be you'd be getting some slime and stuff from the water being,
that's all,
I mean, that
I
would,
mean, I'm just here to pretty it up.
Yeah,
So
and-
if
and mo-
it's
and most of
doable-
it's is, you see most of it probably 10 months out of the year. It's been
Yeah.
unusual high
Yeah.
water years now, for
Um,
the last 2 years.
So I guess I would be interested in seeing what they said or where that went. We could just see where that leads, and
I like that idea.
I
do
think
too.
it would be so beautiful.
Very makes it attractable to the boating traffic.
I
I
also
mean,
think
this
that-
would just change the look of New London if these buildings, and I
Yes.
did not get a chance to go all the way down the line, but the ones down on the end down by Copper Shot, I know there's a few of them there that for sure will, and maybe it'll trickle up this way once I get a chance to ask, or we can make it a thing to make a meeting and ask who wants to be included. There's some of them back there are really nice brick, and I wouldn't expect them to want to paint the brick, but the ones that do have paint or have been painted, they need new paint. So, I mean, we can help donate the paint, or I don't know how much manpower we have, but maybe the city would also, I have no idea. We'll tackle that when we can, but if they say they want paint, we will try to help get it painted and give it a new fresh
I
look.
think you also, that if you would paint that river wall too, it would kind of distract from the unevenness of the buildings and stuff that,
Once there is bright colors all over this whole alley,
yeah,
nobody sees the ugly anymore. All you see is the pretty. Like, it doesn't matter if there's a dumpster
right.
or a wire
Cars parked
or
yeah.
anything. You're just gonna notice all the bright stuff, all the drama of all that alley's ugly. That's all gonna go away when you distract it with bright colors.
Mhm.
There you have it.
Great.
I'll reach out to Scott Kinky and see what he says.
Okay,
You know, and maybe it's a certain type of paint that he recommends he has to do it,
maybe
but I don't know.
that would be too.
Yeah.
This is just a tentative design to give you an idea. But this is the food pantry. John's Bar is connected to that. Post office across the street. So this brick wall, would have something similar to the sun swirling out, the water, and also mountains. And not in the same exact art form. The entire brick wall will not be painted. The brick will still show through, kind of like the Grow wall downtown New London where she painted the flowers on them. But the idea would be to use the brick shapes. So we don't even have to paint in the brick cracks, but you just paint, the orange on the brick faces for the sun, and then the blue water and the mountains. It will be stretched across. This is a tricky little one, but I spotted it and I couldn't help myself. So this is the State Farm building underneath it.
No,
I do not know how we go about painting it. We maybe have to put a little pontoon boat down there or a dock or something. But when the water is right, that will be painted or can be painted. State Farm wanted to keep the background like a light grayish so it blends with the building. But then this flowered, I don't know what this is, flower Japanese sort of art looking on the bottom. And that would still be the red and the black.
that would also be another one that we'd probably have to check with the DNR.
I don't know if that wall ever goes underwater per se, does it?
You look right now and you'll be able to tell.
There's water up on it, yeah.
A little bit, okay. So you can check with that as well. Okay, this is a question for the Park and Recs in the city. The tennis courts, I noticed them, and you can see in the top right corner. I don't know what those are called, backboards or however you play against yourself against the wall. Those are painted anyways, so could we put murals on those? I see that tennis court right there has two of them. I believe Pfeiffer Park has one.
I think you're right.
I'm not sure if they have two, one.
I think
don't
there's
know.
one there, and Abraham, I'm not sure.
Abraham doesn't, I don't think.
Yeah.
So that would be 3 ideas there. to put on those just for fun and something different to do in the park. Look for a little bit of art in the park. This is Water Street Vintage, and this is their north wall in that little alleyway. The wall is a little challenging because of the texture on it. And we would, the hope is to have kids or teenagers, kids in the community. I would get the same material that we're making the signs with, the other art that's hung up over here by Dairy Queen and all that. Cut different shapes out of them, you know, big pieces. This is a huge wall, but big pieces, and give the kids like a gallery wall. So they would have a gallery wall that all these little shapes would be different kids making different pieces, and it would be a gallery wall there. I don't know if those lights or anything could be hung up back there if they were really high connected in between the buildings, but that would be a really cute little touch to add at night to light it up. And Water Street Vintage was asked, and they said they would definitely go for the lights back there if that was okayed by the city, and all your specs were passed, you know, how high it had to be or however that works. But I did not talk to the owner of the other building yet as far as attaching them over there. Okay, so we're back to the beginning, and then the other few questions that I had would be, Wapaka has crosswalks that they paint in their downtown area. So the crosswalks are artistic, and we would consider making that a thing in the future to brighten up the roads and the streets. Maybe in this downtown square, you know, Wolf River Avenue, North Water Street, Pearl Street. You could go up all the way to the hospital if you wanted. I don't know how far and how
Isn't there a
many.
grant for the Water Street in a couple of years or something?
That's good.
So,
Yep.
I mean, I think that is something that we,
You could do
some
then.
planning, you know, for that road to be, what are we gonna do? Is there something
would love
different
for-
that we could do with the
Yes.
downtown area to, you know, like over in Wapaka, they, you know, did different angle parkings and just a little more
Yeah, I
character.
know there will be new planning downtown,
Yeah,
so
so-
maybe that would be something that would, but if you could put this on your agenda
Yeah,
for the downtown area and consider that could be a thing in the future to brighten up the streets. Also, with that being said, I know, is that 2023?
2024.
24, okay. So April Kapitsky and I spotted on the internet another city, I don't even know what state it was in, but they took all their sidewalk squares, like in the whole downtown area, maybe all the way up Pearl Street. I don't know how far this would go, but they took all their sidewalk squares and sold them to the public to paint a year ahead of time before the construction starts. And that money went to the businesses that are going to have trouble when the construction is there. So you kind of are helping the businesses at the same time as you're letting the public do a little art for fun. So I just wanted to keep that in mind, that the Art League would maybe be able to, you know, help with a project like that. But that would be a little bit of a way to give back to the businesses, you know, or prepare to give to them the year that they need it when the construction is happening. I think, picnic tables, Chad. Picnic tables in the parks. We're wondering if that could be a project with the schools or students, where the picnic tabletops would become art in the parks. I did have a meeting at the school this morning with Mr. Yerke and Mr. Black. And I mentioned that, but there's other projects that we can do with the schools too. But I think those picnic tables are just such doable sizes that the students would really be excited to be a part of something like that. I don't know how many picnic tables there are or how to go about it, but it's just paint and it would just be on the top. So if ever you know, I'm sure the picnic tables need to be refreshed I don't know how often you refresh them, but this would be a thing to try, and maybe the schools could refresh them when they need refreshing every couple of years. Take a job off of the park's hands if all, you know, for all I know. I don't know how that works, but I know that there would be a lot of little artists that would be excited to do something like that. And obviously it would be supervised and, you know, full function, something we would go through you to okay the ideas, or, you know, make sure they were done right.
And now, so
We're
the
park and rec agenda.
Yep.
Yeah, you have-
our
I'm-
agenda for us.
I'm filling
Yeah,
you
a lot
guys
of
up.
stuff, Yeah, we have a lot of stuff to look at.
I like that idea though. I think that'll liven things.
That
up.
would just really, I mean, if we're gonna do art in the town and you want to be noticed, I think, why not? I mean, if you have any other ideas of things to paint, just tell me. But I'm looking everywhere and they're just trying to find
We're
whatever. I
Bird
can
City and Tree City, we might as well be Picture City or something.
Yeah, yeah, for real. I mean, it's making people happy and it's making
Sure.
people come to town, and
Yeah.
once all the businesses can be up and open and full again, I mean, I don't think it's gonna, I think it's a positive. That's about all I have. Is there any questions that anybody has on anything?
On the amazing low prices I noticed on the other side towards the
Oh.
bank
Mhm.
drive up, are you continuing like what
The
you?
plan was for another fundraiser this year to do it at the Fall Fest. So far the Fall Fest is still scheduled.
Okay.
If for some reason the Fall Fest gets canceled, we'll have to come up with a different plan that passes to sell the squares or get them painted. But that, yeah, that's the plan.
That was, and that was your fundraiser then?
Yes,
Okay, that was perfect.
yeah. So we'll try to continue that on that side yet this year.
Anybody got anything else? Well, thanks for all your info.
Yeah,
Sounds
you're
like great
welcome.
ideas.
Thank
Or
you.
Is the commission blessing those except the, let's see, which ones are?
Well, the one
The
that you
ones that
wanna
we have
contact
authority
Paul
to
Hannon.
approve, yeah, not the ones not on city or park.
The Main Street.
The ones that would conflict with Paul's suggestion of the main
Bo-
side.
bottle-
Bumper to
bottle
bumper
shop.
and bottle shop.
Yep.
And then you also have to tell me about the longevity building with the wings and Franklin Park building,
Yep, and the Riverwall.
Riverwall, picnic tables, tennis courts.
Yeah, those will just go to the Parks
That'll
and
be
Rec.
on
for
Park
blessing.
and Rec agenda, on the Park and Rec agenda.
Yep.
We
So
can-
then
that'll be
I'll
next
hear
month.
from you on all those
In
by
July,
the next month.
in
Okay,
July, yeah.
But you
Okay.
guys would bless everything except the ones that are,
in question
Yeah,
here.
in question.
but the
Yeah.
ones that are for Park and Rec, you'd still bless those now.
Oh, yeah, I would say.
Those you bless now because then the Parks and Rec committee just blesses attaching it or putting it on that building.
Yeah, I don't have any
I have no
objections. I would
problem.
say go ahead.
We don't need a motion for that anyway, do we?
You guys bless the murals.
So we need a motion on the murals?
That's per what I've read in the ordinance, and I'm not saying I'm expert on it, but the murals, because they're not signage, what's in there, needs to be blessed by the commission.
Okay,
So
I'd look for a motion to approve the downtown murals.
I so move.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed?
Thank you
Motion carried.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We got update on planning issues and other agenda items.
I think that was just the default one that's always been on there, I'm assuming. I don't have anything for that unless you guys do.
Comes up as month goes on, huh?
I think so.
Not any
Yeah.
other
I
city
just
that
think
can
that we,
of.
as a planning commission with this new
I wanted to
road
show you
and
this.
stuff,
There's
and if
another
we
city
can
that does that.
organize something to do some planning prior to that, you know, I think we could do some pretty cool things with their help
For downtown?
for downtown. And I mean, that would be something I would think would have to come through the council,
Mhm.
you know, to start looking at what possibilities there are, you know, to refreshen. And I mean, look what she's doing with the back of the buildings. I mean, some of our business owners are maybe just looking for some help since the road is being paid for. I mean, maybe we can do something.
We have that $2,500 matching thing that we do for downtowns.
Okay,
I don't know if
so
that's still got money in there available yet?
Yes, there is, the Economic Development Committee has the Building Facade Improvement Program, which, don't quote me, I think it's like a $2,000 match, or $4,000. The city would kick into, the business owner kicks in 2,000 as a 50/50. And I've got like two of them sitting on my desk that I gotta learn and review and
Yeah.
kind of
But I
figure
mean,
out.
I'm thinking, like some of those apartment buildings and stuff like that, if they could help us in this, maybe contact some of those landlords and get them on this committee to help us plan that downtown. I mean, we got a beautiful green space down there that is doing nothing but growing grass. And, we could
You
have
could have a
some
nice shelter down there.
pretty nice things going on down there.
The baker shop are having that little.
That spot,
shelter
and
down
then
there.
that one right across from Jolly Rogers where the theater was. And I mean, there's some good, with our veteran park down there. And I just think if we could all work, like the council and us and everyone get planned. I mean, we've got time now, so let's do it, and do it up, or, like Paca did just a beautiful job over there with that Main Street, so.
Yeah.
We've got talented people that in town here.
We're on
that-
a roll, so don't let us stop.
So they have ideas, I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
Wanna going.
In regards to the downtown project, we had our first internal planning meeting this last week. And it was more so our engineers and financial. And I brought April Kapiski from the chamber
Mhm.
into that meeting. It was just kind of the first, okay, let's get our head wrapped around things. 'Cause we got several years, but there's a lot of stuff to do just
Mhm.
because there's federal money attached to that grant. There's a lot of hoops to jump through with
Sure.
that red tape.
Absolutely.
So April and I will be sometime in the near future having some meetings with the downtown business owners to start
Good.
that off and get them on board with the project. And their input, everything is important, and just make
Mhm.
sure that everybody's on the same page. And even what Susan was saying with her idea of maybe the year beforehand, selling,
Yeah.
the sidewalk squares to help those businesses,
Right.
that's kind of all maybe ideas to kind of pursue right now.
Just lamp posts and, what kind of lamp posts do we want down there? And,
And that's where Jason, we're gonna have to stay coordinated
Right.
with the utilities when
Right.
we do our downtown.
Yeah, once you bring lighting in, then there's a lot of different aspects to that. I've had a lot of conversation with other municipals about being careful about your ornamental lights. Although they look really attractive, during the daytime, that height can be a real factor when you drive through downtown. So my biggest concern when you guys start to look at fixtures is to know what they look like in the dark, because if you have a certain height where they look really appealing to people, it's been my experience that people do not like that at the night because that meets their eye. So their line of sight when they're driving can be inhibiting with those lights. So that is my my little bit of input on the lights as we work forward in establishing what you guys want for lighting. That's going to be a key factor in making a decision. We'll have to look at what type of light, the new LEDs are great, but we're receiving a lot of feedback. Some not so great. They light up porches and houses more than we've ever seen before. So that's a big concern to me is the LED lights and then how they're perceived in the daytime and the nighttime moving forward with that project. So those things we're going to have to look at in the future.
Thank you.
Cool.
Anybody got anything else then, or anything, Mark? No? No? We look for a motion for adjournment.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I said- and I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Or adjourn. Thank you, Jason.
All right.
Yeah, thank you all. I hope to meet you in person. Unfortunately, my commission made a recommendation for me to stay remote, so I wish everybody to stay safe with this whole COVID. I hope it doesn't come back to bite us here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you all.
Thank you.